if you have EQ without faith, again, in my opinion, now that EQ stuff could be a lot of self-centric mumbo jumbo, and it's all where it becomes self-focused, where it's all about the self. Now, obviously, you've got to, you are part of both faith and emotional intelligence. So it's not like, there's no self-focused and all that kind of stuff. So, there's got to be that, there is that aspect to it. But if you become the idol, right? Because, humans, myself included, I'm a master. I can make an idol out of just about anything. I can make an idol out of my phone, out of social media, out of food, out of tacos. What? Okay, that was a joke. Although there have been times, right? So, man, I've made an idol out of so many things. So the point is, you need both. In my opinion, you need both faith and that emotional work. And again, going back to James chapter 2, 14 and 26, it talks about in there, one of the verses, faith without works is dead. Well, now based on where my growth is at, part of those works, part of that action is emotional works, working on myself emotionally, growing emotionally. How many immature Christians have you met? How many immature believers have you met? There's truckloads out there, right? Because our EQ, just because you may have verses memorized, all this stuff, does not mean you're emotionally mature, right? So you can't pray yourself into maturity, into emotional maturity. Entrepreneurs, leaders, and influencers. Great to see you today. So check this out. I want to show you the view. For those of y'all that are watching this on Facebook or YouTube, look at this. San Diego. How beautiful is this view, man, huh? All right, so check this out. I want to share some thoughts to you today about the connection and relationship based on my own journey of faith and emotional intelligence. Now, I'd love it if you feel like you're getting value from this content. I'd love it if you would subscribe or follow, comment, review on the podcast and stuff, and share if you're getting value from this. So let me tell you a number of stories. Again, this is the relationship for, just up front of my perspective of emotional intelligence and faith. So I have, I got started my relationship with the Lord early on when I was 8 years old, and lived a I would say a pretty dialed in relationship with the Lord journey from the outside, meaning that there's a cheesy quote: if you were accused of being a Christian, would there be enough evidence to convict you? So from all outside perspectives, I was super dialed in. I didn't cuss. I didn't drink. I didn't chew. I didn't any other bad stuff. I was dialed in. I was the equivalent of, there's this term, two Bible terms, a Pharisee and a Sadducee, just in a kid's body. So legalistic is another way to say that. But man, I was towing the line. I was walking by faith, right? It's what everyone else would have said. Oh man, Noble, this guy loves the Lord. And no doubt, I absolutely did. But due to my emotional immaturity, and spiritual immaturity, so both of those, emotional immaturity and spiritual maturity, I was very legalistic. So anybody that was not as dialed in as me, I'd either tell them, hey, look, man, hey, if you're cussing, you're sinning, right? I was everybody's Holy Spirit, right? Because that's what God called me to do. It's crazy to think about it, right? But anyway, so that was one side of my journey. Another side of my journey, as I grew older, I can't tell you how many times, I was, whether I had promotion opportunities at jobs or, business opportunities to grow, my different, business ventures that I've had, that kind of thing. Excuse me. And due to my and speaking engagement opportunities, folks, hey man, no, but you want to speak, all this kind of stuff. And due to my EQ, my low EQ, my emotional immaturity, but boy, I'd be walking by faith, right? Because as I older and matured, right? Walking by faith, quote all the Bible verses, church on Sundays, boom, dialed in. I didn't feel the self-worth and self-value to take those opportunities that I feel God was giving me. So how many of those opportunities were from God that he was like, no, I'm trying to level you up. I'm trying to help you live at this next level that I've called you to live at. But due to my EQ, my ungodly beliefs, my childhood emotional neglect, my avoidance, my emotional avoidance, and ultimately feeling unqualified, unvaluable, unworthy, worthless, all that stuff, I did not take those opportunities. And so where I'm at right now, based on this journey that I'm going through, I feel like they are two sides to the same coin. Faith and emotional intelligence are two sides to the same coin. So one without the other is not, in my opinion, is not good or healthy. Faith without emotional intelligence, how many Christians or how many believers are out there, whatever your faith background is, how many of you are living at your full potential, your full God-given potential? Has anybody accused you of having too much faith? Or man, you're getting too many blessings, right? Has God ever over blessed somebody? How many of us are truly walking by faith? James chapter 2, 14 to 26. And Hebrews 11, 1 and 6. There's all kinds of faith verses out there. So faith without EQ, and look at the divorce rate among Christians. It's the exact same as everybody else. Well, are all those Christians not walking by faith? Are all those Christians have a fake relationship or bad relationship? I am nobody's judge, but I would probably venture to say there's probably a lot of those folks that, and again, name the faith back, Muslims and whatever other faiths are out there. You can't. You need both. You need both, right? So then the opposite is if you have EQ without faith. Again, in my opinion, now that EQ stuff could be a lot of self-centric mumbo jumbo, and it's all where it becomes self-focused, where it's all about the self. Now, obviously, you've got to, you are part of both faith and emotional intelligence. So it's not like, there's no self-focused and all that kind of stuff. So, there's got to be that, there is that aspect to it. But if you become the idol, right? Because, humans, myself included, I'm a master. I can make an idol out of just about anything. I can make an idol out of my phone, out of social media, out of food, out of tacos. What? Okay, that was a joke. Although there have been times, right? So, man, I've made an idol out of so many things. So the point is you need both. In my opinion, you need both faith and that emotional work. And again, going back to James chapter 2, 14 and 26, it talks about in there, one of the verses, faith without works is dead. Well, now based on where my growth is at, part of those works, part of that action is emotional works. Working on myself emotionally, growing emotionally. How many immature Christians have you met? How many immature believers have you met? There's truckloads out there, right? Because our EQ, just because you may have verses memorized, all this stuff, does not mean you're emotionally mature, right? So you can't pray yourself into maturity, into emotional maturity. A 5-year-old can't pray himself into being a 30-year-old. And I'm using age as my example there. It's just an analogy, but get the point. So you've got to grow both your spiritual faith and your emotional intelligence. You got to do both. Otherwise, you'll be extremely lopsided and in my opinion, super less effective at what you're trying to do. And again, from my own personal example, that I can share. Okay, is an emotionally unhealthy Christian, I'm just going to use Christians as an example because that's my faith background, is an emotionally unhealthy Christian as effective as if they were emotionally healthy? Right? And again, from my personal experience, that's a resounding no for me. Again, just looking at me, I have absolutely not been as effective as I could have been if I was intentionally growing my emotional intelligence alongside my faith. So I finally feel like I'm getting to a place in my journey where I can Noble can finally get out of God's way. So now God can start doing work on me. Because listen, this is literally my thought. This is one of my ungodly beliefs. Hashtag UGB, ungodly belief. This is one of my ungodly beliefs, one of my inaccurate stories that I developed over time. This is a true story, y'all. Hashtag true story. This is a true story. Hey, God, seriously, don't waste your time on me because I am not worthy enough for your time. I am not valuable enough for your time. Now, this is Mr. Spiritual Faith Ninja, knows a bunch of Bible verses, Noble here. Literally, for years, that was my story. That was my prayer. Hey, God, listen, I'm not as dialed in as I could and should be. There's so many other better Christians than me out there. Like spend time on those guys, man. Don't waste your breath, your time, your energy, your effort on me because, I'm not worthy enough. I'm not as if I could ever be worthy enough, right? So you see how distorted and perverted that thought process is there, that story is. So that's a perfect example of how my EQ was impacting my faith, was impacting my relationship with the Lord. So be aware. And here's the thing, ask God for insight, and not just insight, but also ask God for strength to help you grow. Holy cow, check this out. Wow. What? I'm like on the 17th floor. Do you see that guy? That's crazy. This guy a bird literally just flew up. Wow, he wants to get some skinny. That's what I'm talking about. That's crazy. Okay, so for those of y'all who listen to this on the podcast, a bird, I'm in the 17th floor of this Grand Hyatt Hotel in San Diego overlooking the beautiful, beautiful water here. And this seagull, this bird just flew up on my windowsill, 17 floors up. Mid skinny scream here. Okay. So the other part, so not only ask God for insight, but also ask God for the strength. Because, here's the deal. My faith journey has been no joke, but also my EQ journey has been no joke. It's been no joke, y'all. So listen, your faith journey is not for the faint of heart, and your emotional intelligence journey is not for the faint of heart. However, they are both so incredibly worth it so that you and me can live at the levels that God has intended us for us to live, and to stop playing small, to stop playing limited, to stop being imprisoned and in bondage to our limiting beliefs about ourselves, our stories, these inaccurate stories that we've got swirling in our heads about these different areas of our life that served us at one point as a coping mechanism or survival mechanism as a child, but now as we've matured and gotten older, we still have those stories operating, and we never went back and got healing in those areas and realized, man, I don't need this survival story anymore. I don't need this survival coping mechanism anymore because I'm older. I'm out of that particular area, of my life and stuff. So and please, on this journey, I'm so thankful to be a part of this growth journey with you all. Thank you so much for watching. I'd love it again if you would subscribe, follow, share, and review, and let's grow together on this journey so that we can reach and live at our full potential that God has intended us to live. God bless you all.